What's going on? YouTube is Donnie B all day. So, my man, my main man, Cowboy Sebop, aka Tubes5150 here on YouTube, sent me a little something right here. He sent me a couple things actually, but this is one of them. This is the one we're going to talk about right now. He sent me, it's the Elk Ridge, what is it, the numbers on it, like 146, I want to say. Elk Ridge, oh wait, I have it on the box. Elk Ridge ER-146. So those are the call letters. Basically what he sent me was a fillet knife. Now, as soon as I opened it, I thought, all right, not bad. I've had some good experiences with some Elk Ridges, so I should be able to have some pretty good experiences with this guy right here. Now, of course, this ain't a banger. This isn't something you're going to take outside and whack in the woods. But this is definitely something that if you're an outdoorsman, fisherman, then this is something that you are going to want to keep in your tackle box. First thing I notice is there's a snap right here to open up the sheath, right? But while it's snapped, it comes out anyway, so you don't really need it. But it doesn't really matter because you're using your fillet knife generally when you are by the fire at the campsite, somewhere in there. It's not usually a belt knife. Fillet knives are generally kept tackle box or just campsite area over there, because you don't want to lose your damn fillet knife when you're fishing, because then you can't fillet your fish. So let's go over this guy right here. I got all the specs lined up. All right, so we are at, let's get rid of this. Well, first let's go over this real quick. Soft brown leather sheath with Elk Ridge logo. It does smell good. It's a thin sheath, but it's a good sheath. And here we are. So we have an overall length on this fillet knife. Look at that upsweep, is beautiful. Really helps you get inside when you're making that first cut. 12 1/8 inches overall. We have a blade length of 7 1/4. And even though it looks like jig bone, it's simulated. But I have to say they did a good job on the simulation. It doesn't look like those cheap ones, you know what I mean? You've all seen them where, I think, what's it, Uncle Henry? They have some that just, you look at it immediately and go plastic from 60 feet away. This guy at least looks pretty good. So, 440 stainless. And that's pretty well. You have a steel bolster right there. So, we are talking true full tang. It is stainless pins. And it came sharp. Let's test how sharp it is. And if you know filleting, if you cook fish, then you're going to know you need a sharp knife. And I'm about to go cook some fish, so I'm going to have to wash that off. But looky here. That thing is shave sharp. Exactly how you want your fillet knife. Let's see, it says ER-146, custom design, stainless steel, hand forged in China. So obviously it's thin, and the reason is because a fillet knife is made to go in between the scales, the skin of the fish and the meat of the fish, to completely fillet it, right? Let's get rid of that. And you need a thin blade because you got to be able to go all the way through. You need a sharp blade because you don't want to hack at it. You don't want to saw at it as much as possible. You want to be able to see if you can't push it through. Some fish are different than others. Some you really need to work it. Some you don't. Trying to think of what else. Now, generally, the only time you're cutting down with a fillet knife is when you're off with the head or off with the tail. So you cut the tail, you cut the head off. Now you're gonna fillet. If here's your fish, you're gonna fillet the belly open. Now you're gonna spread your fish. You're gonna debone, and once you get that fillet nice and flat, that's when you're gonna start to de-skin the fish. Now, if it's a fish like what I have to cook, steelhead, you don't really want to take off the skin because it's good. You want the skin on it, all right? Any kind of salmon type fish, you leave the skin on it. But some people don't like it, so that's where this guy comes into play. So what I did is I got a steelhead fillet, And instead of cooking my filet like normal, and this is going to be a two-part video. So, Cowboy Sebop, you are going to like the first part of this video. Your wife's going to like the second. What we're going to do is we're going to take this and we are going to fillet some scallops, and we are going to knock down some of that steelhead, and we're going to cook it and blacken it in bacon grease. So we're going to do blackened scallops and steelhead in bacon grease, and we are going to lay that over egg noodles, just buttered. So maybe garlic too. So that's it. Let's go. I'll give this guy a quick wipe down, and then we will put it to use. Let's do it. All right, so I got my egg noodles in the water on the pot, and now we're going to start getting to the brass tacks. We're going to start getting to some of this. So we have the scallops, right? Got to have sea scallops, not bay scallops. And we have a nice piece of steelhead fillet. Now, I was thinking I'd go out and catch me a fish to do this video with once that knife came in. And then I started thinking, you know, good old Donnie B all day is a little too freaking antsy to sit there and go for 2 hours. So I just went to the market and bought myself a fish. And this way I know it doesn't come from our crackhead river, and I don't have to worry about parasites and all that jazz. So let's get this guy out of there. Whoo, doggy. Look at that. Look at that beauty. We're going to dice that guy up. Oh, gosh, gotta love steelhead. So we're going to get that done. We're going to get the scallops done. We're going to let the noodles continue to boil. So let's see if we can't set you all up here and hold on. All right, so let's get started with these scallops here. So now what I want to do is I want to stand the scallop up. So you see the barrel is up, right? That whole scallop body. Now what I want to do is take my very sharp fillet knife and I want to go sideways through my scallop, right? So I just halved it, okay? And now I'm going to do that with the rest of them. I'm just going to half the scallop, half the scallop, half the scallop. Man, this knife is nice and sharp. Let me see. Got to see, yeah, with just a nice push. Elk Ridge did a good job. So normally when you're cutting with a fillet knife, that's what you're doing. You're going this way with a fillet knife, right? But because we're going to do blackened pieces all together, it's going to lay over pasta. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do an extra push down. So I'm cutting all of these into quarters, and it is really no problem with this knife. It is pretty sweet. So that's it right there. This knife is making very short work of the scallop. Scallops are pretty easy to cut, but this thing is just making it really nice. So all my scallops are cut into quarters. Now we can put them all into the little tub that they came in. I can hear my bacon grease over there getting nice and hot. So now let's take this fish. So here we have it. Normally if this is a whole fish, you know, obviously you cut off the head first or the tail first, whatever you want, and then you go through it. And then I'm just going to show you real quick. So if you have the fillet here, right, here's the skin to the actual fish. What I would do is just start that way. And what I want to do is get in between the scales and the actual fish, so it looks like this. See what I did there? All I did is just peel that off, and you can see that's all white right there. I didn't take apart the fish. The fish is still solid. It's still right there. This is just all skin. But I'm not going to do that because I want to use the skin. But now you know that that's what you would do. So we are going to, wow. Let's see how it goes through the skin of the steelhead, because that's normally the problem. Going through salmon skin is pretty rough. Not for this. Not for this. The knife is making it very easy. And I mean very easy to go through these scales. So I gotta say, this is a pretty good fillet knife, and this is going to be my new fishing knife. this is going to be it. Oops, I messed up on that one. That's what's happening. This will now be in my gear that I would fish with, which I don't fish very often, only on necessities. But you see that right there is pretty damn simple. So I'm going to cut these into quarters as well, actually halves. And the fish is going to be big. The scallops are going to be small. I just want nice filleted chunks, and that's what I'm getting out of this. And man, that's already pretty nice right there. So what I'm gonna do with this, let me check my noodles. They should be looking pretty good. My noodles are looking pretty good. They're almost done. And this stuff is gonna cook pretty fast, right? Especially since we're blackening it, putting it in bacon grease, bacon. That's gonna get a nice sizzle going on. So let me add my scallops real quick. So this knife, man, I gotta say, this knife is a worker. All right, so now all I'm doing is sending the scallops and the fish all together into the bacon grease, and I'm gonna push it around, and that's how that guy gets cooked. Let's get rid of all this stuff. So let me mix it up a bit first. I don't know what I do with my fork. And the good thing about the grease is it's going to keep it from sticking, but it's also going to add that extra flavor, and it'll help with the blackening. So that's what I want. So this is pretty much what we're looking at right here. All right, we got our noodles going, just an egg noodle, right? Typical, you find them everywhere. And then this guy right here, I'm just gonna let sizzle, and I'm not gonna add too much to this because they're blackened and it's got bacon already, so I don't really need to pretty much do anything as far as artificial flavoring. I'm just gonna let this be natural inside the bacon grease, and the noodles will get butter and a little garlic. So hold on. All right, so far so good. Hopefully it's gonna be blurry. Let's try and break that. But what I did is all the big long pieces that I was cooking, I cooked on one side, then I flipped and cooked on the other side. And now what I'm going to do is, now what I'm doing is I just take a fork and I cut it right in half. And now that it's cooked mostly, that's going to cut really, really easy. And that's how you know you're getting there, is because that skin is going to just slice right apart. And now there's a couple, wait, look, let me show you here. You can see how light pink this is. That piece right there is good for eating. That one right there, even though it's a little darker, that's good for eating. Even though you could eat salmon raw, it doesn't really matter. But when you want it cooked, so now you'll see the difference and see how pink that is. If it's really, really pink to where it still looks wet, it's not done yet. So, especially, I mean, I got some good wild caught stuff here. I don't have to worry about parasites and all that. But if you get the, if you're getting some farm raised stuff, or you're getting it from a place that you don't trust, then, you know, you want to make sure that it's cooked more. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you go to get sushi, and a lot of times it's going to be raw. So you see the difference right here, pink, a little more clear. It means I got to flip it over and cook a little bit on that side. But it's cooking up really, really nice. And nice and soft, and that's the way it's supposed to be. Let's get a little taste test here. Man, steelhead cooked in bacon grease is no joke. Here's the thing: you take the fish, that really healthy fish, and you cook it on this fatty bacon grease. Oh, that totally helps. So basically, that's it. I'm going to just let the pink cook out of this just a little bit, and I mean, this is a perfect example that I just broke. You can see really pink in the middle, cooked all the way nice on the edges. So I'm just going to flip that on its side, cook it, and what I like to do is put a top on and let it cook all the way through. So I let the steam help, and that cooks that up. So let me set up my noodles. All right, so I think I'm having a little baby change of mind. Instead of the garlic, I'm gonna use some pour it all out medium salsa. Get to clean that up off my keys. Some medium salsa in my noodles with butter, and always have to have a rag. Idiot people like to spill salsa juice. So that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to salsa in the noodles, and the salsa with the seafood. I know if you don't do it, if you've never done it, you're going to think to yourself, that does not sound good. Believe me, salsa and that is really good. So what I'm going to do right now is strain the noodles real. All I'm doing, obviously you guys can see that, and just getting the noodles, getting the water out of them. And then what I want to do is reuse that pot, right? So I'm just going to put the strainer in the sink, let that run down. I'm going to take my Smart Balance, because that's what I use instead of real butter, and I'm going to take a nice big fat chunk, right, and throw it right inside that pot. And what I want to do is I just want to get that pot lubricated with the butter. So now when I throw my noodles that are nicely strained in there, I'm throwing it on top of the butter, and all I have to do is whisk it around, and this is how I'm getting my noodles buttered, right? So I'm going to get a nice coat there. Everything's going to be la-di-da. I love buttered noodles. And now I'm going to add a little bit of the salsa. And you don't have to go crazy with salsa. If you want to make a salsa seafood noodle dinner, all I'm going to do is take one big forkful, and I'm going to dump it in there. That's all I need. Put that away real quick before I spill some more of it, because apparently I'm really good at that. So now I'm gonna re-mix my noodles with the salsa, get it all in there really good, and you can see just by doing that, I don't know if you can see, but you can see the salsa and the noodles are perfectly mixed. Maybe you can't see, but you get the gist of it. You get the gist. So now I'm going to check my little seafood medley over here. And oh, that looks so nice. So now all my salmon is cooked. All my salmon is wonderfully cooked. My steelhead, you can see how perfect that is. So I'm going to turn the heat off of here. And all that's left to do, basically, is take my noodles and put them on a plate. So let's see. See what I can dump out, and then I'll have to get a fork and scrape out. So, oh, that's a good sound for you guys. That nails on a chalkboard sound. All right, so now I'm just going to take my noodles and stuff them into this pan. Ooh-wee. And I'll show you how that, oh man, that looks so nice. So nice. Man, that salsa just adds something. So this is what we have, just a bed of noodles mixed in salsa, right? So now I come over to everything's off here. Actually, I'm just going to bring this over and get myself a spatula, a little spatula, and I'm going to take my salmon and my scallops, just get out that grease, shake it all out, and I'm going to just lay it across the top of my noodles. I might even drop a piece. Oh, wow, some cat's gonna love that in a minute. So let's see, I'm not gonna put it all on there right now, but just want to give you guys an idea of what we're looking at. Scallops and fish. Oh man, that looks so nice. So, guys, I'm telling you, you get a good knife, man. You get a good knife, you got a good life. Look at that. Oh my goodness. So right there is a meal. It's a good meal. And it was made possible by this guy right here, the Elk Ridge ER-146. That's a good fillet knife right there. That's a really good fillet knife. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my eat on, and that's it. Cowboy Bebop, man. Tubes 5150. Bravo, man. Good knife. Good knife. I hope your life gets a little better when your wife sees this, because maybe she'll cook you up something nice now. Ooh, yeah. All right. I'm Donnie B all day. Until next knife.